Hi guys, welcome to a new blog. So with this blog, I actually am going to talk about things I've been feeling throughout this whole week and last week and the week before. It was like a huge roller coaster of emotions that I'm going through at this moment, and I've been like a little bit more stressed than normal, and I'm going to tell you why and what's going on. And I hope that moms out there can relate to this topic because it's just a huge emotional roller coaster. So I'm comfy on my guest bed in my guest bedroom to make it more homely so you guys can kind of connect to how I am feeling at this moment or what was happening before. If you've seen my Instagram statuses and stuff, I have mentioned that I've been over stressed a lot and I've been having more headaches than usual and stuff like that. So I think that I just want to get it all out to you guys on how I've been feeling and what's been going on. And my videos have been late because of these reasons. So let me tell you what's Hey guys, so I'm in a new outfit. This is a different day. I had originally recorded this whole part at the beginning that you had saw my intro, but then I went back and reviewed it and I realized that it was just all over the place. It was just a huge giant mess. So what I did was I took each part and I divided it up into sections. So we're going to talk about each section and how I've been feeling and stuff like that. Some of the sections may merge together and you may be relatable to these sections. And so, yeah. So we're going to start with the first one and then move from there. If you've seen my Instagram post, you probably know what is coming. I try to post like my picture that I post for YouTube. I try to post that a couple days before I post a video so you kind of know what's coming up in my vlog. Again, I try to get them out every Wednesday. So let's start with the first topic. Okay, so the first topic is financial issues. So the reason I'm talking about this topic is because I just want to know that I'm not the only one out there with these type of issues. I'm not going to get too personal on this part, but I'm just going to get like stuff that people have already been through. So one of the things about having a baby is obviously the hospital bills, the insurance stuff, everything like that comes with the baby, right? So we discovered that our child was not covered under our insurance. And one of the things that I want to tell you guys, if you're going to have a baby, double, triple, quadruple, just check it. Like before the baby is born, after the baby is born, a couple weeks after, a couple weeks before. Do it like 5 or 6 times. If your insurance gets annoyed by you, oh well. You know that your baby is covered. Here I was being a trusting person. I was like, okay, my baby is covered. That's awesome. I called them and they confirmed. And then after he's born, they were like, oh yeah, he's not covered, by the way. And so I get this huge bill. And I'm like, what? So I had to call the insurance, call the hospital, call the clinic where he's getting his appointments and get that all fixed. That was like stressful. That was like a whole day of doing like phone calls, trying to figure out what happened, why he was not covered suddenly when he was. And it was just a big mess. So if you're preparing to have a baby, please call your insurance like a million times. If they get annoyed with you calling, oh well, you know that your child is covered before the hospital, your OBGYN appointments, and after, and especially your appointments for postpartum and his your child's appointments and stuff, because we just got a huge bill And so we fixed it all, and then we have to wait 14 days, and then I have to call back next week. Well, by the time you see this video, it'll be like 5 days after this video. I'll have to call back and confirm again. And then it's just like, yeah, it's just one of those situations that it caused more stress than it should have, especially with trying to have the baby, have your child right there, not worry about a lot of stress, you know. Then all of a sudden your life is mixed up with, hey, I thought my child was covered, why is he not covered? And it's just a big mess. So confirm that your child is covered before you make appointments, before you do any of that. If the hospital pushes you to make an appointment a couple days after he's born, just say, hey, I'm going to call my insurance first before I make the appointment. We should have done that. That's one of the things that we should have done, was call the insurance first before we actually made the appointment to confirm that he was covered. One of the things that I didn't know of my insurance was 90 days after my son was born. In those 90 days, I had to call my insurance to let them know that he was born, and then we had to they had to like confirm or whatever, and I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, okay, well, they just told me after, you know, he's covered. Before he was born, they're like, okay, your child is covered, you have him on your plan, that's great, just send us their social security number and stuff like that. So I did that, and after he was born, and then come to find out he wasn't covered. And so I didn't know that I had this 90-day window at all. And when I called the insurance, they're like, don't worry, you're not the only parents that don't know that. And I'm like, why don't you tell us this, you know? So it's just a lot of surprises will come after you have a baby, and just be prepared for them. My husband and I, we last month, even though I had videos coming out during this whole time, we were trying to save money to do some back pay for our insurance to cover any of the costs of clinics, hospital bills, all that fun stuff. So we were saving, and even though our son was covered, it stressed us out. You know, we were stressed out. It was just crazy. But we did get it fixed, and things are better. We just have to wait 5 more days. Since this video comes out Sunday, we just have to call them in 5 days and confirm that, like, okay, he is finally covered. We are able to finish his appointments and stuff like that. And yes, that is my financial portion of this video. And so we're just gonna move on to the next. Okay, so the next section in this video is breastfeeding. So I stopped breastfeeding my son at 4 months. And there's a lot of factors that came into play for this reason. I didn't stop because I got frustrated. I stopped because of my own mental health and because of my son. My son just stopped latching at 4 months. He was like done. He didn't want to latch anymore. He was getting frustrated. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know if it's because we started feeding him bananas and sweet potatoes and he liked that better. It probably could be the reason, but he just didn't want to latch anymore. So we are now sticking to formula and puree baby food. So it was a relief for me to say, okay, thank goodness, because I've tried the Breyer's yeast, I've tried the booby bars, whatever they're called, I've tried different things like that. If you've seen my past videos, I've made shakes before, I've done everything you can think of. I power pumped after he ate, I power pumped before he ate. I just, you know, it was just crazy. And I still went from like 6 ounces to 3 ounces to 2 ounces to 1 ounce in like a span of 4 months. Like I was making less and less and less, no matter how many times. If you're a mom watching this video and you're saying, well, did she try this? I've tried everything you can think of. Okay, I've tried the power pumping, I've tried the foods, I've tried the sunflower lichen mix or whatever it's called. I've tried the berries, but I stopped breastfeeding because it makes me gain weight. And my husband and I are both military, and I have to be at my weight of 132 by June. And if I keep this breastfeeding journey going, I won't make it. I will fail in the military if I don't reach that weight goal. And so right now I'm just trying to focus on that. I did see if there's any like protection against women who are breastfeeding, and I didn't find anything. So I'm just gonna do my best at trying to keep my weight under control. And he's comfortable with bananas and sweet potatoes and formula. You know what? He's being fed. He's growing. He's enjoying life without breastfeeding, and that's okay. I've come to terms with that. Either way, he's gonna grow up and be a happy baby. So now that he's okay with being all those things, I can focus on my weight, my health, everything like that. And so he just stopped latching at 4 months, and it happens. Some babies stop latching at, like, you have to wean your baby off. Some babies just stop latching naturally. It's really up to what happens. And when I was in the hospital, the nurses said 6 months, and I was like, sure, 6 months. I mean, I didn't know anything about breastfeeding, and they were just like, okay, 6 months, you breastfeed for 6 months. And I was like, okay. And I didn't know I didn't know anything. And they just told me that I had to breastfeed till 6 months. And so that is what frustrated me so much, because I couldn't continue to 6 months. And I'm part of so much mom groups on social media, and I've learned that some moms stop breastfeeding because they're going bald, their mental health is affected, the pressure is just too much, stuff like that. So I know I'm not the only one who worries about, stop breastfeeding and the pressures of breastfeeding. I know that my son is getting the good vitamins he needs through his formula, through bananas and sweet potatoes and stuff like that we're giving him. He's going to be 5 months soon, so introducing him slowly to good healthy foods like that will actually help him grow. It's actually a really good time for him to stop breastfeeding, because this will bring me into my next topic. So 1 minute. Okay, guys, so the next one we're going to go into is daycare and COVID with daycare. So before I get into all this, moms out there can relate to how much daycare is, and pretty much your whole paycheck goes to daycare services, right? I mean, we looked for daycare all around us, and it's like 100 to 150 a week just to have him in daycare, not counting the down payment of $175. I mean, that adds up. So we were debating on when to put him into daycare with all those prices. And then from there, we were like, okay, well, what are your COVID standards? So we were really worried about all of that. I mean, I asked all the questions. I was like, okay, tell me your standards for COVID. How many kids do you have in your class? What is your ratio? Have you had any cases of COVID in your daycare? I mean, I was asking all the questions, and I probably sounded like a weird psycho mom or something, but I wanted to know if my kid would be safe with me gone and in daycare. You know what I mean? It's just I'm worried and I'm not worried. I mean, we have some family members who have children in daycare, and their daycare had COVID cases, and then their kids got COVID. So I'm like, what do I do here? There's pros and cons, and If COVID wasn't happening, I would be like, okay, I can pay for the daycare. Let's just do this. But my dog just walked in. But due to COVID, I'm still a little leery, but I know that it has to happen. And the problem is, I can't decide when. I was supposed to start him next week, but I just don't know if I'm ready to put him in so soon. You know what I mean? I mean, if you have kids in daycare right now, moms, with COVID going on, do you worry? You know what I mean? Do you worry about the daycare? Do you worry about what's happening? You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to like find the pros and cons about all of this. Just figuring it out, just trying to do things. But yeah, daycare is a different kind of interesting path, I would say. And then understanding that my son is going to have that transition from from home for 4 months to daycare. 5 months. He will be about 5 to 6 months before he goes into daycare. And that transition. And we just got really lucky having him during COVID, because the first 5 to 6 months of his life, we're working from home, we're here, he's with us. We just got really lucky. But I know that there's moms out there who have to go like right into daycare when your child is a month old. Sorry, my glasses are bothering me. But yeah, this little section may seem like it's all over the place because I'm still trying to get it straight in my head on what to do and stuff like that. But I know that it has to happen. I'm just trying to figure out when. I know it has to happen before June, but I'm just trying to figure out when is the best time to transition him over. And I know that separation between me and him are going to be hard, but I know that it is possible and we can do it. So that brings me to my next section, which is leaving him. So let's move on to the next section. Okay, so the idea of leaving my son someday, that someday is coming up. That someday will be in June, and I will leave him until September. He will be about 7 months old around that time when I leave him, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. You know, my husband and I are both mill to mill, so it's my turn to be gone. He had his turn, my husband had his turn, it's my turn. This is my first time being separated from my son, and it's just gonna be interesting. There's so many emotions going through my head, and some days I think I've got it together and I'm like, okay, I can do this, he can do this, and then some days I just fall apart. You know, I can get through the whole daycare thing, but going through this thing is like a whole new level. I'm trying to understand that, like, I'm afraid that I will lose that connection with my son that I have right now. That's what I'm afraid of. And I know that, you know, moms out there will say, no, you won't, but I just have that worry, you know, and I'm afraid that, you know, it's going to be a huge schedule change with him, that he's going to have to adjust to mom not being there. Like just the other day, he was crying with my husband, and then he stopped and looked at the door, and then he cried again, stopped and looked at the door, and I walked through the door. Like he was anticipating, wanting me to come through that door, and crying until I came through that door, and then he stopped crying. And so, I mean, he's a smart baby. He knows exactly when I'm in the house and where I am, and he'll call for me. And there's going to be that someday while I will not walk through that door. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, trying to soak that in, the idea. I know that when I signed up for the military, I know these were the risks and these were the sacrifices that I would have to take, but it's harder than you think it is. Like when you sign in, you're like, okay, I have to take the sacrifice. But when the time comes, it's probably the hardest choice you're gonna make. And you're going to say, well, why can't you take him to daycare with you over there? Why can't you do this? There's just things over there that I have to do extra, and he's just going to have to stay. I can't. There's just a lot. There's just a lot that's going to happen, and he's going to have to stay with his dad for those months, and then during those months, his dad's going to be gone, and we're both going to be gone, and he's going to stay with my parents for a little bit during those months. So it's just a huge, it's just a lot. And I know that he is strong. He's a very strong child, and he'll get through it, but it's going to be a rough ride. That's for sure. And me thinking about it every day, some days I'm just like, okay, I can do this. I'm strong. I'll be strong for him. We got this, William. And then some days I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this to my son. Like, I'm going to be gone, but I'll be back type of thing. I may come see him on the weekends. It depends on my schedule that I have. But it's just a lot. A lot of things that people who are not in the military don't have to worry about. I mean, the separation of daycare. I will get through that and I will figure it out. But this is a whole new level. And people who have to make this sacrifice, it's harder than you think it is. It's a lot harder than you think it is. And you can say, well, you'll be back. But you'll be back is a long ways away. What happens in the middle? Well, your son gets sick. If William gets sick while I'm gone, I can't be there to help him. If William gets injured, I can't be there to help him. It's just, you feel so helpless, And I know that he'll be in good, trusted hands and stuff like that. But I just know that I know how much I needed my mom for a lot of things. So knowing that he will cry for his mom and I won't walk through that door one day, it just breaks your heart to know that, So that's the idea of leaving, that someday will come. And I know that it's going to be a huge struggle for me and him. It's going to be a different type of schedule than what we're used to, but that someday will be over, It'll go by fast. I'll come home and be home again. But it's just knowing and getting past it and just being strong for him and for me. And yeah. So if you hear William in the background, he's with my husband right now. He's trying to take a nap. This is like his nap time. My husband takes a nap because he works night shift. So they're just trying to do it together. Yeah. So that's the idea of leaving. I know that I'm going to have to leave him, and that's a big sacrifice I'm going to have to take to leave. And I don't have a lot to say on this topic because I'm still trying to process it myself and understand. I actually thought it was going to be sooner. I actually thought it was going to happen 2 weeks ago, but plans changed. I was so glad plans changed because I was not ready to leave my son. But I'm so glad plans changed, and it's actually going to happen in May. And so I have another month to actually emotionally, socially, mentally prepare myself to know that I'll be gone. Yeah. I think that's it for this little section. It's not a big section because I'm still trying to understand it and understand how to get through it myself. I know there's people out there that can relate to this, and sometimes your mind goes blank on hard topics like this because you can't quite put it all together in your head. But the idea of leaving my son for several months will still be there in my head because until after it happens. After, I'm pretty sure it will release a lot of stress, a lot of emotional stuff, but it's just getting there and getting through it. So, yeah. The first video I recorded on this, I actually started crying and then I just could not finish the video. So now I'm just trying to piece it all together and control my emotions so you guys kind of understand what is going on in this type of stress, in this type of development. So I'm just going to slide right into the next section. Two sections actually, mental health and stress. So with breastfeeding, with leaving my son, with daycare, it caused a lot of stress. We were trying to figure out when to put him in daycare. I was trying to figure out why I was so stressed out. I was trying to figure out why I was gaining weight. I was figuring this all out, and it was so stressful. And I realized that after a while, my mental health was going downhill. And moms, if you're breastfeeding and you can't figure out what to do and you stress yourself out, I know that society pushes us to breastfeed all the time and that's the right way to go and stuff. But if it hurts your mental health, recognize that. Recognize that and say, maybe I do need help. Maybe I do not produce as much. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't produce as much. Either way, my baby's going to grow with or without breast milk. Formula, breast milk, they're going to end up in the same place. And I recognize that he's going to end up in the same place, and it doesn't matter. So I realized that was hurting my mental health. And then a lot of factors came into play, like being a first-time mom, if you're doing things right, if you're making things happen. A lot of things were playing into my mental health. So I eliminated things that were hurting me inside, stressing me out a little bit more, and then added things that can calm my stress. So that's when I started the idea of starting planting gardens, because I know that it's more relaxing and you can watch it. And then we also started the idea of eliminating plastics, a fun little project for us to do. I know that you can say, but that's stressful. Actually, it's not, because I'm a person who, if you come to my house and it's super clean, that tells you I was stressed out, or I am stressed out. So when I am stressed, I clean, and so it helped my stress, like eliminating all the plastic, eliminating all the junk, just helped me less stressed. So yeah, and then now my mental health is in a good place where I can focus on where to go, which direction to go, how to make things happen, especially with knowing that I'm going to leave my son in a couple months, and mentally prepare myself for that and making myself strong on the inside. So it's crazy, but I know that everyone watching this video has gone through something like this, some sort of thing. You may not be through the military, but something like it, And you were scared at first, but when it happened, you started being okay, and then you learn how better. I know that this process will just come and go, and things are not forever, but I just got to get through it, get that first beginning, that first process of registering those feelings and those emotions. So just getting through it. I'm going to roll into the last section here because I need to edit this video and put it out. But the last section is family support. I wouldn't have gotten where I am or pieced my mind together where I am without my family support. When I first talked to my family about, hey, I have to leave for several months to watch I need somebody to help with my son. when he's born. Before my son was born, I sat with my parents and I sat with my mother-in-law and I talked to them about this whole process. And my parents were like, oh yeah, we're there to help you. Just tell us no, let us know when, type of thing. And I'm like, but you have your jobs and stuff. And they said, well, we'll take some PTO, we'll figure it out, we'll be there for you. And so they were there to actually help. Even before my son was born, they were like, okay, we're there, we're stepping up, we're there for you, just let us know when. And so I wouldn't have gotten there without that type of support, knowing that like, okay, my son is actually going to be in good hands with somebody who's willing to watch them instead of holding back reservations. And I know that people have reservations that they hold back because, other people have lives. Grandparents have lives. Great-grandparents have lives. They have their lives to live, and they've gone through this whole baby stuff and stuff like that. But one of the things that we were taught in the military is rely on your family support for family, pretty much. So a lot of examples that we've heard of is family taking in their kids while mom and dad are deployed, or like host families taking in kids while mom and dad are deployed. It's that type of process. And I'm like, well, if I told my family, I said, if nobody wants to take William, we have the option of host families, and those host families will take care of William. And so we do have options on what to do if needed, but I make sure that I ask my family first before I do anything else. So knowing that that type of support is there helps me feel more comfortable, helps me feel more trustful, And so, yeah, it's just lots of things are gonna happen, and I know that family support is the greatest thing that we need right now during this time. Family has helped us a lot with a lot of baby things, a lot of advice, a lot of things like that. So it's definitely a lifesaver. I know my mom said that her growing up, she didn't have her mom didn't have like people to help her out, so she did it all by herself. And she said that she didn't want me or my sister to live like that, doing it all by themselves. So they help when they can, and they do what they can to make sure that we don't struggle like their parents had, type of thing. And I said, I appreciate my parents doing that, and that type of support, and knowing that that's there has gotten us where we are today. So if you don't have any family support, look to your friends. Look to somebody you can trust. And so I know a lot of things that happen I talk to my mom about, and I talk to my dad, and I let them know, hey, this is what's happening financially, this is what happened emotionally, this is what happened in my mental stress, my mental health. I keep them updated, but the thing that I love about my parents is knowing that I can talk to them about this stuff, and they don't judge how I feel, but they understand. They come in and they say, you got this, Sam, it's okay, it happens, focus, you got this, good words. And so yeah, if you need like support, look for family or friends. And if you feel too bearable, you know what I mean. If you feel like too much towards somebody, ask them, hey, is this too much? Can I just talk to you about something? Am I being too much at this time? Thank goodness my parents they just listen. They're just listeners. They're just like, you just keep talking, Sam. And then once I get everything out, they're like, okay, you're good. My dog is right here. William, Odin, what are you doing? Okay, go. Go. What? Yep. So, I'm gonna end the video here, and I'm gonna start putting this all together. But I want to thank you all for listening to everything that I shared with you. And if you could relate, please just comment below. Just know that I've actually mentally helped myself a lot before I put this video out. So if you have anything to say, like, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you, I've done all the factors involved. I've done all the things involved. So before I put this video out, I needed to make sure that I had my emotions together, my thoughts together. And so right now we are in a good spot. We're still trying to get through all of the things I mentioned, like getting through him leaving, us leaving, getting him into daycare. We're still getting through all of that, but we're in a better place now. So, yeah. I think that's it. We got a bunch of things from like thrift stores and for free. So I'm going to show that in my next video, but I'm going to put this video out first. Thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate you guys listening to all of this and what's been going on. And just know that if you're going through the same thing, you're not alone. And that's what I've learned too, is that I'm not alone in these thoughts and this process and everything like that. So, yeah. So I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment and share this video. Don't forget to look at William's wish list. Easter is around the corner, so I've included Easter items in there. He wants all spacey things, so we got 3 space books for him already. So we're just looking at like cool space items like balls or like books or like teethers and stuff like that for him for Easter. Thank you guys to those who have already sent items over to us from our wish list. We appreciate you guys very, very, very much. I'm going to put their YouTube description, their YouTube's in the description. So go ahead, like, follow, share, comment, bring them a cookie type of thing. Thank you guys for listening to this vlog, and I hope you all have a good, wonderful day. Bye.